Hi, we're Joel and Lia, and today we have been reminiscing about restaurants. We're currently, we're in the middle of a global pandemic, if you're watching this in the future. So we're just thinking about all the times that going out to eat with friends was so amazing, and we thought we'd cover the subject of eating out at a restaurant in the UK.
Yeah, someone actually requested it, didn't they? When you put something up on Insta.
Yeah, exactly. Compared to the US, like, you know, taking food home, tipping, all of that. So we're going to cover everything in this video.
Sounds good. Food, my favourite topic.
I love talking about food. So let's cast our minds back to when we used to go out for dinner with friends. Cast your mind back to the very beginning. And let's say we're going out to eat somewhere that's within the price range of about £20 each.
Okay, yeah.
So it's maybe a Pizza Express.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a Wagamama's.
Yeah.
We're going to have a starter. We know we're going to have a main.
Okay.
Let's just talk about it.
Okay. So firstly, for somewhere like that, I guess it depends the time or the date, whether you book ahead. Normally with a place like Pizza Express or Wagamama's, I would just turn up and hope for the best.
Yeah, Nando's, you turn up, there's usually always a table. If someone's booked ahead, I always look at the menu before going, and I always plan my outfit before I go. I don't know if that's just a me thing or if that is a UK thing.
Yeah, I always worry about dress code because I don't like dressing up smart. So if it is a swanky restaurant, I'm like, oh, do I have to dress up? Am I not going to be let in?
You're more American in that sense, I think, because like you'd rather underdress than be overdressed, and like we found in the US that people are quite dressed down, not underdressed, because that suggests that there is a dress code, but dressed down when they go out, whether it's like shorts.
But do you know what? I think it's because eating out in the UK is more of an event. People in the UK don't eat out as often as in America because it's more expensive, and I don't know why. I think it's just culturally different where most people cook at home all the time and eat out on special occasions. Whereas in the US, because it's so cheap to eat out, people seem to eat out all the time. So of course they're not going to then dress up all the time.
Yeah, that's so true. Like if it's so much part of your everyday life and it's just as cost efficient to eat out at a restaurant as it is to buy and cook food at home. In fact, it's probably more expensive to buy food from the grocery store and cook at home. Yeah. It makes complete sense as to why would you dress up. Yeah. So, yeah, but totally, going out for a meal here is something that I don't do very often, especially when I moved out of London. I just stopped eating food out all the time. I started cooking every single meal at home. Yeah. And it just feels like normal life now.
Well, I recognise that with my parents because I eat out, living in London, I eat out probably 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah. And then if you're in town, like even more than that. Yeah. But my parents, like, they probably eat out twice a month. So not very often at all. And I think that's the norm. London is a bit of an anomaly.
Yeah, for sure. London's just like you said, my bank statement is a menu.
Yeah, literally.
That feels so true.
So real.
Yeah. So let's talk about when you're in the restaurant. Let's talk about the service. Obviously, we've mentioned it in other videos as well, but the service from the offset when you walk in is very, very different to what it is in the US. In the US, I mean, even if you walk in and you can't get a table, someone's going to greet you, someone will say hello, they'll probably take your name, ask what party size you're in.
Yeah, which I find hilarious because I'm like, I'm not.
How big's your party? It's not a party.
You're like 2, and then even if it's just 2 of us, they'll still call you party of 2. They'll be like, Hadzaka's party of 2? Hadzaka's party of 2, and you'd be like, are we having a party?
Are we?
Are we?
May as well. Order the Prosecco.
Yeah, get the Prosecco.
But in the UK, I think at most, if you had to wait for a table, you'd probably just get like a buzzer.
Yeah.
One of those little black thing that goes red.
I know I base my opinions on Florida because it's where I go most of the time, and I already see the comments being like, you can't base your opinion on America or on Florida. And I know, but it's one of my main experiences. But I find that you queue quite a lot for a table in Florida.
I felt like we queued a lot in Vegas.
That's true. We're just waiting outside, waiting for someone to call us in, waiting for our number to appear.
We constantly queued at a buffet.
Yeah.
Like every single day was a buffet queue. We were just like, well, let's just get in the queue for the buffet.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but in the UK, I just don't feel like there's many queues. In fact, if there is a queue outside a restaurant, you go, no, it's going to take forever.
I'll wait any more than 15 minutes, and I swear every Brit is like, nah, we'll go somewhere else.
Yeah. Game over.
Yeah.
Game over.
But I think it's interesting you say about from the get-go the attitude is different because you guys, let us know if you found this if you're American coming to the UK. The service is so different in that you walk in and they're not that friendly. Like they're not rude, but they're just not friendly. They're just like, hi, what are you like?
You might even walk in, we've had it plenty of times in the UK, we're just not acknowledged.
Yeah.
You just walk into a building, no one says hi.
Eventually, when they can, they'll come over to you.
Yeah, but there's very little urgency to come over. Remember when we walked into that Carluccio's and it just took ages and we were just like, anyone know we're here? Like, perhaps if we were from somewhere else and we didn't expect that, we would have just been like, well, this is outrageous, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
You know, where's my service? But we're just like so used to it.
It's like, where's the waiter?
Where's the waiter?
Yeah. Obviously, that comes down to tips, which we'll come on to later, but because Brits working in the service industry get paid a living wage without their tips, they don't need the tips to survive. I think there's less urgency, which obviously has its pros and cons. Like,
yeah.
Because obviously they're less accommodating because they don't need our tips.
Yeah, and I wonder if when we were in America, some people tip the waiter on entry to guarantee.
Wow.
I just wonder because sometimes they're just being so amazing from the beginning, from the get-go. Is there anything, do you want any information on what I would recommend? Do you want to, you know, have you got any allergies? All of that. And you're just like, are you my personal assistant? Because this is phenomenal.
Because we like this, actually.
This is really nice.
I mean, I do find it sometimes a bit much when you know that they sit you at the table, they're introducing themselves, telling you their name, they give you like all the cocktail menu, they talk you through all of the specials, and you're like, this is so much information. But sometimes I quite like it because I'm like, oh, they're like your, like you said, a personal assistant.
Personal assistant. They're like, I'm here to pop up and tell you everything. Like sometimes you'd be in a restaurant in the UK and you might say to the waitress or waiter, what's the soup of the day? And they'll go, got no idea, one second, let me just go and check. And then they'll just go off and you might not see them again for 5 or 10 minutes, and then they'll come back and you'll be like, so what is the soup of the day? And they're like, sorry, I didn't actually ask. I'll be right back.
So
that could
bad.
be infuriating if you're used to really good service, someone who's got a script ready, they know what they're doing, they're on their game. That just doesn't, I don't find that very often in the UK.
I feel like British waiters or waitresses are so lazy and laid back, whereas the American ones, when I look at them, I'm like, oh my gosh, they must be exhausted by the end of the day, like running around after all these tables. They're like
like firecrackers, like pop, 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 not shooting, but like they're just like pop, 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 like doing constantly running around, refreshing drinks. Like you can't get another drink in the UK if you put your hand up for one. Like you won't get
and you have to
one.
pay for it. It's not even a free refill. But in America, even though it's free and they're not earning any money from it, they're literally like there giving it to you.
Wow.
And also, laid on top of that is the banter, which personally I don't like. I'm like,
what
I just want
banter?
you to bring the food. I don't like the banter between waiters and customers.
Like what? What do they do?
I don't know, just like when they come to the table and they're just like, I don't know, the jokiness, just chit chat.
You don't like it?
I don't like it. Or like they comment when you like ordering, they're like, oh, someone's a hungry boy then or something, and you're like, no, stop.
I can't deal with people commenting on what I'm about to on what I've ordered.
Oh my gosh, you should go for this, it's so nice. And you're like, as a Brit, you feel awkward because you feel like you now have to order that.
Whereas an American would probably feel like, no, I don't want to get that, I'm going to get something else. Whereas you'd be like, if someone said that you have to get it, you have to try it. You're like, okay, I've got to do it now. This is so awkward. It's just so awkward.
Oh dear.
It's just such a different experience.
It is. But I do think Americans would come to the UK and think that British waiters and waitresses are rude and lazy.
I mean, they're just not in it for the tip. They're not expecting a tip. In fact, if you're American and you open your mouth, they might think one's coming because they get used to Americans tipping, certainly in London. But no one's working for the tip because they don't think they're going to get one. In fact, let's talk about bill splitting with friends. That is a whole other thing.
Especially if you've got a big group, like 10 friends, and you know you're going to split it. As soon as they know you want to split it, they sort of like rolling their eyes.
They know they've got to get their calculator out. Their calculator is also their phone. Their WhatsApps, their messages are coming through from their friends, and like they're just really annoyed that they've got to now be your personal assistant, like they are in the US, but to help you guys split the bill. Like you can tell it pains a lot of them. We're not saying all, because of course there's some that are like happy to sort of sit down next to you and how, you know, when they sit down next to you and they come down to your level and you're like
you're one of us. You're our new friend.
You're a friend.
Whereas I haven't been to America with a big group where you split the bill, but I've seen it. And like without even asking, the waiter or waitress will bring over like 10 of these wallets. You know those big leather wallets that they put them in,
and everyone's got
with
their bill.
each person's bill. And I'm like, how on earth did you remember each person's order individually like that? Because they've obviously had it on the system, and they go, anyway, it baffles me.
That is incredible. They must write like the first person at the table, number 1, number 2, number 3 has had that, and that.
Must do.
But then like when you order stuff for the table, does that just get split between everyone's? Like that is magic. That is witchcraft to me, that they know what they're doing.
They deserve a tip just based on that, I think.
Yeah, I agree. Those 10 big stackable things that they're like, here's the bills.
Crazy.
That is crazy. And then, you know, leftovers.
Oh yeah.
So I actually think in the UK, leftovers have only really started to become a thing in the last 5-10 years. I certainly don't remember my parents being comfortable asking to take stuff home. I don't think my dad still isn't.
No.
Would never take something home from a restaurant. But
the only time I really notice it is when we go to America and we just leave some food as we normally would, and they're like, "Oh, do you want to take that?" And I'm like, "Oh no, no, take it away." But like, I only notice it when they say it, because in the UK you just leave it and they will never offer. They won't say to you, "Do you want to take this home?"
No, never.
They just bin it.
Yeah. And then unless you say like, "Oh, can I get that for a takeaway box?"
Yeah.
And I think that's where the whole term back in the day, like, "Oh, we'll take that home for the dog," came from, because I think Brits were embarrassed to admit that they were taking that home for themselves for another meal. So I think that we've given that a little bit of a telling.
I think that's good. I think that's covered it quite nicely, and I think it's quite a fair comparison, because we've been to the US obviously lots of times now. Yeah, I don't know. I think both services have their pros and cons. I love the fact that there's no pressure to tip in the UK.
I hate that there is pressure to tip in the US, but I understand why it's necessary.
I understand why. But at the same time, I quite like how friendly the US waiters are. But at the same time, I don't like it when they're too friendly.
Yeah, I know.
And you're just like, can you just leave? Like, I just want to have a conversation with my friends. Like, I don't want... Because it's those ones that overstay their welcome. And you're like, sorry, this was supposed to be me catching up with my friend, not
me making friends with you.
Making friends with you. I know that sounds probably mean, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid point. You're allowed to feel your feelings.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and we're going to wrap up the video here, guys.
Thank you
so
hunchback.
much. Me too. Stretch out, Joel.
Stretch out. Oh, lovely.
Remember when we went on a yoga retreat before COVID?
Yeah, and now look at us.
Now look at us. We need that again, don't we?
We do.
Right, we have very much enjoyed reminiscing about restaurants and going to have food.
Can't wait for it to be open again.
Cannot wait.
Yeah.
To go back to our favourite place, Nando's. We will see you guys at the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and notifications.
Notification bell. Click the notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when we post new videos, and we'll be back soon with another very entertaining video.
Bye guys.